Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting your local community. We have shed light on injustices, and we have allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you can see yourself supporting, well, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the voter, to know the truth. But remember, we will not be silenced. Now, if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders and those in leadership positions accountable, well, we ask that you join the cause. How? Well, currently, right now, our program is being streamed live across all of our social media platforms. We could be found under X, formerly known as Twitter, and Facebook under Frankie Olivo. Make sure you follow our personal page on Face. We could be found under Olivo Frankie. But more importantly, we ask that you go to YouTube, create a Gmail account if you haven't already, like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. It's free. Remember, Brownsville, I will never, ever ask you for money. I will never, ever ask you for food. Well, depends what you're making. All I ask of my community is something very simple. I'm not that hard to please, Brownsville. You want me to continue to provide you breaking coverage of everything that is going on within our city, within our county, within South Texas? Subscribe to our YouTube page titled Frankie Olivo TV on YouTube. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously, sometimes a little bit after. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to tune in. And always remember, we will not be silenced. And thank you, Brownsville, so much to each and every one of you for the time and attention that you provide us. Thank you so much for that. How we doing, chat? Happy Monday. It is November the 3rd, 9:18 a.m. Welcome to Good Morning Brownsville. It's been an eventful few days for your humble servant. Late last night, we had something very shocking that transpired in South Padre. Police did have a hostage incident where an individual was barricaded at Margarita Hotel. This happened at 6 p.m. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we want to break down what exactly happened, what transpired yesterday. We do have an eyewitness account from somebody that was next door to the individual. Now, there were many conflicting reports in regards to what exactly was going on. Here at Good Morning Brownsville, we pride ourselves in giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly, the black and the white, staying away from the gray area, and letting you, the community, decide on how you feel on certain situations. Yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, we did see a clip go viral of a hotel patron that recorded what was happening at the hotel. And look, it was a very tragic and scary event. We had children there.
Okay, racist people exist. Oh my God! Okay, no, we need to leave him there. No.
Yeah, go ahead and
Oh
call
my
PD.
God.
This guy is no, ma'am. Go ahead and step in the room.
God.
Fernando, please
No.
stop.
No. You're just gonna make it worse.
Oh my God. No. Oh my God. What if? Does he have a gun?
Please come inside. Yes.
You need to leave. You need to leave.
That's fine. You're in this, bro.
No, you're in this.
Who's around?
Again, an intense moment happened yesterday, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we will be bringing you the individual that brought this footage to us. Today, we have with us Miss Athena Martinez. Good morning, ma'am. How's your morning going after yesterday's tragic events?
Good morning. It's going. It's definitely going. I'm just trying to get my side out there for what it's worth.
And before we start, thank you so much for what you did. I understand that you have been criticized for your videos. One thing that I pride myself in is transparency, letting the public know of what's going on. Miss Athena, please describe yesterday's incident at Margaritaville. Can you start off how your day started and what led up to this event that we saw on the clip?
Okay, well, I got here around, I want to say, the check-in, whatever, at 12. But once I was in here, which is the 5th floor, I had come back from swimming. My best friend got here, and we were just talking, catching up, and all of a sudden we start hearing noise in the room next door. I think if I can recall, I had heard noise before that. I think even before she got here, because I was here for a little bit on my own. But I just took it as, oh, it's families like coming across, being, just getting stuff together, talking, whatever, living in the room. And so I didn't really think much of it until we were talking and we noticed we kept hearing boom, 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 boom. Like it became more than a normal family just in the room. And so it became yelling. At that point, it wasn't just things dropping from what we first thought it was. And so I went outside of my door and I started hearing more yelling. I started listening to what she was saying, and she was saying, "I'll give it to you right now. I'll give it to you right now." And in other words, it was that urgency of, okay, I'll give you something, but I didn't know what she was talking about. And then the housekeeper across the room, we kind of stayed looking at each other like, should we call somebody? It sounds problematic. It's not just a regular little argument with a couple. It sounded hostile. So she comes out of the room crying, very distraught, like just the whole, like she couldn't, distraught is the perfect way to describe it. She could not defend herself in that moment because she went into survival mode. And she went into this mindset of apologizing for ruining our vacation. She just kept apologizing, feeling like the most inconvenient person in the world for her safety being compromised. For that man, Fernando, I didn't know he was drunk. I did not know he was drunk until little too late, if you ask me. So I went in immediately. I saw her crying, and I took 1 second to gather myself, and I pulled her into my room. I said, "Come here, come here." Well, I didn't pull her, right? I did give her the choice, but I was like, "Come here, basically, take my hand, come to my room," because I immediately knew she was in danger. And so I grabbed her to my room. She's defending him, apologizing, saying she wasn't trying to make things worse, ruin anybody's vacation. Over and over, she kept saying, "I'm ruining everything. I'm sorry. This is my fault." And defending him. In other words, she was taking all the blame for him not letting her leave. She wanted her bag, her passport, so that she could leave to the airport. I believe she's from Chicago. Don't quote me on that. But they're not from here. They took a flight here. And he was angry, or just, he wasn't being that aggressive in hindsight, but he was just not letting up on his points, and at some point he did seem drunk. Eventually I was able to pay attention and see that he was drunk.
When again, we heard initial reports that this incident started at 6 p.m.
Yes.
Did you see hotel staff start frantic trying to defuse the situation? What was it like? What was the scene like when hotel tried to calm him down?
Well, the housekeeper called security, and that's the guy that's in my video. He did amazing in holding his ground. He was getting in between. He didn't let him come out, and he also was hesitant to go in and grab the lady's belongings, whatever she needed to just get to safety, because she did not want to leave without this bag. And then she at one point did not want to leave without her flip-flop. That's when I became upset, and I said, "No, we'll get you another pair of shoes. You need to leave. You need to leave." Like, I tried to get her away from him, and she could not leave without her shoe. She was being so persistent. And, "No, I need the bag." She got the bag. "No, I need the shoe." It was very hard to help her in a situation where she almost did not want to leave because she was concerned about Fernando, granted. And the hotel staff, the security, we were talking to him. That's when he became very aggressive, calling him a Mexican, saying that he was going to sue us, asking for our names, and recording, getting all up in his face with his phone. It was not about me. In other words, I see the comments about, "Oh, she's a pick-me, she's a weirdo," because I was getting in the middle of something that literally Fernando was not talking to me. Fernando barely even looked at me. He was angry at the security guard for just telling him something, and then for being Mexican. And then I was just there because I felt that it was so wrong what he was doing to Jill, and I was not going to let him get away with what he was trying to make Jill feel like she was an inconvenience. She deserved this. It's all her fault. And then he had all the power. She should be so lucky that she's even here. It was that, you know?
So this started as a domestic violence report. Did you see anything on Jill's face? What was she? Did you see any harm on her person?
No. She was just crying and it was verbal. We did get her side. Apparently, she told my best friend that he's done this before. He's been a drunk, verbal, I don't want to say physical because that I didn't get that from her. I didn't hear and I didn't see anything on her. She was just crying. He was throwing things. He was having that power over her.
Now there were reports of, and I don't want to jump to the end, but there were reports that this was a hostage situation. Is that fair to say, based on what you saw? Did you feel as if this woman Jill was in fear of her life? Was he holding her against her will?
No, it was in the most basic foundation, a couple arguing. One of them was drunk, and another one felt, Jill just felt helpless and scared for Fernando. She didn't want anything to happen to him. She was pleading for them to not shoot him. She was begging for her to she just wanted to talk to him. So he was not really like, no, you can't leave. Like, he wasn't really like at the door stopping her kind of thing, but it was like an emotional abuse, at that point.
So this was more than likely like an emotional, verbal assault against Jill. Now, on the clip that we saw that has gone viral, he does close the door. Fernando does close the door on hotel staff. Was that door ever opened when you were there, or once he closed the door, that's when cops were called, if you know?
That is, I want to say, when cops were called. They told me to go to my room. They did not let me back out until the SWAT team got here. Then they said they evacuated everybody. You need to go. You need to leave. Get out of here. Like, that's when they had to talk to him for hours because he didn't come out. He didn't come back. He didn't open the door. He stayed in the room yelling. At that point, Jill confessed. She had already confessed that he had something, and all hell let loose.
When you say that Jill said that he has something, are you referring to a firearm?
Well, she said concealed weapon.
Okay, so yes. There was Jill did tell hotel staff that he was armed. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that is fair to say, because I asked her in the video, does he have a gun? And then that she did say he has a concealed weapon.
Now, once that happened, SWAT police were called. How soon after that did they start evacuating the fifth floor?
Not soon enough. I mean, in my opinion. I didn't really I felt people were still in their rooms. I was down the hall for a good minute listening to people right in front of me having full-blown TV casual conversation.
Wow. And again, it's we would hope that hotels would be trained, but again, it's difficult. It's difficult because we don't think that these situations would happen, unfortunately. But again,
right.
No, this is no shame or no blame to the hotel. They did the best that
we did our best
at that time. So I don't want anybody to misconstrue that we're throwing blame on the security guard, on staff. Again, they did their very best at that given time. Now tell us, okay, he closed the door. He's got a firearm. SWAT comes in. You get evacuated. Everyone gets evacuated. What happens next? Where do they send you?
I stayed down the hall for a long time. My best friend and Jill went downstairs. A lot of people apparently were going downstairs from the 4th and 6th floor because they wanted everyone out from the surrounding areas. I stayed, and the manager told me at one point, he came up, why are you here? How are you related to this? What are you trying to do? And I just said that I was concerned for Fernando's life. I said, I don't want anything to happen to anybody. And I felt helpless if I went downstairs. I wanted to be on the scene because somehow maybe I could help. I wanted to step in, even though I felt that SWAT was taking a long time. And I know there's procedure. They have to talk to the the person. They have to make sure that they don't hurt themselves. I know I know because whatever, the law enforcement, I know how it works. But I felt there wasn't enough urgency and I wanted to step in. I wanted to, let me talk to Fernando. How can I help? Because in my head, it was like, it was Fernando and Jill, Fernando and Jill. I knew Fernando was not going to hurt anybody else but himself or Jill at that point. I knew because I was in the situation. I trust my gut. I knew where Fernando was coming from. He was drunk. He was hurting. He was projecting, essentially. You know what he did? Somebody in the comments is saying he was just drunk. It was drunk behavior. You know, a lot of us don't act like to that extreme when we're drunk, but okay, that's his approach to being drunk. And regardless, my mindset went to mama bear instinct for Jill. Full on mama bear.
Now, when you were evacuated, because when I got to the property, there was all local agencies from the Texas Game Wardens, Cameron County Sheriff's Department, Brownsville PD, South Padre Island PD. After they evacuated you, where did they send you?
At that point, we went to the hotel restaurant. Well, for a good while, we were in the lobby. And what upset me was the fact they were still letting people go upstairs. They were still letting people take the elevator if they were not on floor 4, 5, and 6. My question is, nobody should be going up. It should immediately be closed off because they're still going to pass through floors 4, 5, and 6. God forbid the thing opens and Fernando escapes. Why were people being let upstairs? I talked to the hotel staff because the guy was asking them, where are you going? What floor? And I said, but why are we letting people up? People should be evacuating to safety. We were not let out of the hotel. We had to be in the restaurant or the lobby. And it was like, carry on, go to your room if you're not on floor 4, 5, and 6. No, and then we were in the hotel restaurant. We couldn't leave. They let us go to the restroom, but even then, somebody tried to leave after going to the restroom, get out through the front. What is going on? And at some point, a hotel staff member was leading the SWAT team unarmed. There people on Facebook are making fun of the guy saying, oh my goodness, he's unarmed leading the SWAT team. Like, what even is this? This is a joke at this point, the way that he was leading them, the SWAT team, full shields. The man was just strutting. What is going on? Like that video right there, everyone is clowning the way that we handled the situation, because why is he with his lanyard, shorts, unarmed, no shield, just leading fully shield guarded men? Like I definitely understand, but at that point, that was not the way we should have handled it.
So again, when I got to the property, I was outside, and they said nobody could go inside. This is an active, investigation. For our safety, obviously. But then there was conflicting message. First, they said nobody could go in, and then the South Padre Island Police chief, if I'm not mistaken, did override the officer at the hotel at the front door lobby, and they asked everybody that was outside to go inside into the lobby and then eventually into the restaurant. Did you hear anything about Fernando jumping out the window?
At that point, I was hearing a lot of he's on the balcony, he might jump, he might hang himself, he might shoot himself, but then Jill was saying that he wasn't going to do that, and it was just a bunch of hearsay at that point.
So again, when I saw you and your friend, we were in the restaurant. Could you describe the environment? Was it a tense moment? How would you describe the patrons there at the hotel?
At first, it was business as usual. Everyone was just eating, kind of waiting for it to blow over. They gave us complimentary food and drinks. We were in our own world. We were literally in our own world at that point.
Now, okay, so there's this standoff that lasted for several hours. Did you fear for your life? Were you scared, or were you like in panic mode at that time?
I was full on survival mode, I would say. Full on.
Okay, are you drunk, or why are you being racist?
Did you ever see Fernando reach for a gun or try to swing at the hotel staff?
No. He made a girl cry. He made a girl cry. He did not
No.
want to let her leave.
I'm sorry. It's because my video's
He's being
going off
racist. He's telling
in this
him
thing.
that
I can't really hear too much. Okay, there.
I apologize. So again, we're in the restaurant. That's where I see you. That's where I meet you. And people start saying, "Hey, make sure you interview Rowdy. Make sure you interview Rowdy." And we did. Now, your friend did show me a video of the police, SWAT, right outside the room. So there were people still on the 5th floor when SWAT came in.
Yes. Yes. I know there were at some point somebody came through the stairs, didn't even know what was going on. I had to tell them that, hey, there's an active person here. You should go downstairs. And he said, guess we'll go watch TV. Like there was no sense of urgency from a lot of us here because I don't think that was being communicated enough. A lot of people, nobody was really scared. Maybe like I saw a lot of people like, damn, when is this gonna end? You know, like it was that. A lot of people were just upset that their time and money and energy was being taken away. You know?
Interesting. And again, shouts out to the hotel staff. They did their best once we were in the restaurant. And again, for those individuals that did watch our live yesterday, the hotel staff did try to accommodate us. They did offer free food, free drinks. They did their very best to understanding the situation. And look, ladies and gentlemen, there were kids, there were elderly people. Many people were confused, were scared, not knowing what's happening. So shouts out to the hotel staff for trying to accommodate as best as they could. Now, okay, so we're in the restaurant. I get kicked out for being live. How long were you in the restaurant until the police officers diffused the situation, if you could recall?
I'd say maybe an hour. At that point, we didn't have track of time because this started around 6. We didn't come back up to like 11, 12. Like it was already 12, hitting 12 when we were in the room.
Now, okay, so you are in the restaurant. They say that everything's clear. Everybody could go back to the room. What did you see when you went back? Because in a hostage situation, my mind, not knowing how the procedures are, I think, okay, they're going to break down the door. They're going to throw tear gas. I watch a lot of movies. but going back into the 5th floor, did you see any smoke? Did you see any debris? Were things broken? If you could tell us what you saw going back into the 5th floor.
A lot of, the investigators, I saw the door was cracked open. At that point, I didn't really look too much because I was just tunnel vision to the room. I didn't even think we were going to be able to go into our room. And then my best friend said that she saw the gunshot and the debris. And I kind of got to see a glimpse of things just all over the place in the room, like a bunch of stuff, just messy at that point.
So you could confirm that there was a gunshot.
Yeah, because even through the room across, you could see a little where it went through.
Oh,
when he shot.
So you're saying that there was a gunshot that Fernando from the inside of his room shot outside?
Yes.
Do you know more or less when this happened? Was it before the security came? Was it?
It was when the SWAT was already there talking to him. I was still upstairs at that point, probably around 9 p.m. Like I was still up there, and I heard poof, and so I thought he shot himself. We all thought like, what's going on? But then I heard them immediately say, okay, he shot through the door. There's debris. We need to talk. We need to continue doing procedure, talking to him, and all that. Yeah, so he did shoot the door.
Wow. So again, there was somebody that did use a firearm on the premises. And look, we were criticized yesterday. I'm sure you have received your fair share of criticism. In my opinion, could we have handled the situation differently? Of course.
Yes,
there are many people here that are upset at me, at even you for even recording. But at the end of the day, you're recording for your safety. How did you and your friend sleep last night? How did you process everything once you were back in your room? If you could tell us.
Well, I was drained. I wanted to keep not arguing. I wanted to keep defending and giving my side in the comments, but I had no energy left. And then I didn't even eat. I just ended up staying in the room by myself. Next thing I know, I wake up. And I'm alone. My friend, she left. So she went back home. It was just me, and it was just me and my phones, and that was it. Like just processing everything.
Again, it was a tense moment. A lot of
Mhm.
uncertainty.
Yes.
There were people that were obviously shaken.
Of course.
They were distraught, and rightfully so. When have we ever gone through a hostage situation? You have people coming from out of town trying to enjoy their weekend, trying to enjoy Sunday night football, only to have to deal with this unfortunate incident. Without throwing shade at the hotel, if you could tell us how do you feel you were treated? Were you offered a discount? Were you offered any comp for your for yesterday's events?
No, but honestly, the staff was so supportive. I felt a lot like I asked them questions during, and they were able to give me the most information they could. They were very supportive. They lent me a charger. They asked if I was okay. They talked to me. They didn't blame or anything. There was just like a normal like just getting the side of the story, and I feel safe here still. In other words, they handled it as best as they could.
I totally agree. Um, Miss Athena, any last words for the community in regards to this tragic event last night?
Yes, of course. I do apologize for instigating. That's the big thing. I getting pick me, weirdo, instigator, drama. She wants maybe her 5 minutes of fame. No, I say all of it. This is all about protecting Jill. If Jill is safe, I did my job. If nobody else is hurt, they did their job. That the SWAT, the law enforcement did their job. I did my job, which was protecting my neighbor. Woman or man, I protected my neighbor. I wouldn't change that for the world. At that point I could have just stayed in my room. I didn't have to keep recording fighting fire with Fernando because he was drunk, but that is no excuse. He was still causing issues, and I wasn't going to stand by and wait around yes, law enforcement does their job. I'm also a human that has the capability of doing their job, which is if I want to protect somebody, I'm going to do that. If in the process I accidentally put everyone else in danger, that's Fernando's job as well. Like Fernando, ultimately, I knew he was not going to hurt anybody. He himself was just processing his own pain and projecting, and he never intended to hurt anyone. He didn't even intend to hurt Jill. He was mostly hurting himself at that point, and we were in the crossfire.
It's very brave of you for what you did. Again, you're gonna have people that are gonna like what you did. They're gonna have people that are gonna criticize what you did. At the end of the
Yes.
day, Athena, what I want you to realize is that it wasn't your fault. Now, again, could we have handled things differently? Of course, but again, when survival mode kicks in, you do what you can at that given time, because at the end of the day, you hear a domestic violence happening right next door. You start hearing commotion. You start hearing, you fear that somebody's life is in danger.
Yes.
I don't want you to be embarrassed. I don't want you to feel that you did something wrong. There are people that are going to criticize you. And look, in a perfect world, everybody would love what we do and nobody would criticize. But again, that's the real world. I think in my heart that you are a brave person. Why? Because domestic violence is real.
It is.
Women are physically, mentally, emotionally, verbally abused by men, and vice versa. Men are abused by women as well. So for people to place the blame on someone like myself for recording, for someone like Athena, you got the woman, you got Jill out of her room, you got her out of harm's way. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so again, I think you are a very a brave woman, ma'am, and I understand that people are not going to like what I have to say, and people are going to criticize you, but you chose to help someone when they really needed it the most. You don't know what that man was capable of. Jill herself said that he had a firearm, so you didn't know was he going to use it. Again, there was people who confirmed to me at the restaurant downstairs that they did see Fernando belligerent, that he was drunk at the hotel and by the pool. So you don't know what this man was going through. You saw and heard firsthand that he was being belligerent, that he was being, out of line. So, man, in my opinion, I think you did what you thought was best at that time to get Jill out of harm's way. So before you go, thank you for what you did. If it wasn't because of you, maybe something would have happened to Jill. If it wasn't because of you and your friend, maybe they could have been a casualty in that room.
Yeah, no, as Alicia and I, we did our best. We did, both of us.
Athena, any last words for the community before we sign off?
Yes. Thank you. I'm so happy that everyone is safe and sound. That's literally the point in all of this. Nobody got hurt. Not one person. Not one person. I hope Fernando gets help. I hope Jill understands that she did not deserve any of this and she didn't look, I can't speak for everyone. She did not ruin my vacation. She didn't, no. I hate that she feels that she's an inconvenience. I know what that's like. I know when a man tries to make you feel like you're the problem. No. We don't know the whole story. We don't know the background. But all I know is that a woman needed help and I helped her. I would have done it for anyone, even if it meant risking my life. Because at the end of the day, what's more important is people's safety. And even if it costs my life, why would I not help somebody? It's just natural instinct. I'm sorry. I'm not ever going to be a bystander. And I don't care if I was supposed to just call the cops and wait for the cops to do their job. No, people die in the process of waiting. You do not wait around for life to happen to you. You do your part. If you don't want to do your part, step aside. Let the people that want to do what's right do their job. There you go.
Athena, you are a very brave woman. Again, while many people probably didn't come to Jill's aid, you did, and I applaud you, ma'am. And I know people are going to criticize you for it. And again, in a perfect world, we would be loved and revered by many, but
Right.
not a lot of people, Athena. Not a lot of people would jump to action, would see that a woman is possibly in danger. You did what you thought was best and protecting your fellow neighbor and your fellow lady friend at that time.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Athena, thank you so much for your time, ma'am, and I hope this isn't the first or the last time we have you on the show, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I support the cause now that I understand what you're about.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for everything. Athena, I appreciate your time, ma'am. Hope to hear from you very, very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frank Olivo TV. Best believe Good Morning Brownsville will come on live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously. So make sure that you support the cause by going to our YouTube channel titled Frank Olivo TV, subscribing, liking, and following our page. Ladies and gentlemen, it's free. One thing that I want to highlight before I sign off in regards to what Athena mentioned is very, very important. Domestic violence is real. Mental health is a very serious issue that many of us possibly haven't ever dealt with. Now, combine that with alcohol, combine that with substance abuse. Things turn from bad to worse in a New York minute. We don't know what transpired on that evening. We hope that Jill and Fernando are able to resolve their issues. More than anything, we hope that Fernando learns from this experience and never does that again. It is a very serious issue whenever someone has a gun, is intoxicated, and uses it. Athena showed that she was a brave woman. While she was criticized for recording, she did what not a lot of people would do. She took action. She got Jill, the bystander, away from harm's way. While many people might criticize her for that, Good Morning Browns on this program, on this platform, will applaud people like her, because we need to stand up to domestic violence. We need to remind others that it's okay to walk away. None of us should be ridiculed. None of us should be threatened. And none of us should be put in harm's way. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good morning, Brownsville. Thank you so much for your for time and attention. Peace.